to teach every kid well. We're looking particularly in the areas of literacy and numeracy. For instance, in literacy, one of the quotes I took away from the stuff I've been listening and learning and reading about is, if a kid can't read, there are two solutions: phonemic awareness and phonics. If they don't have those, they're not going to be able to read. And so if they can't read, doing lots of stuff ain't going to help. We need to go back to the basics, and we need to make sure that we're working on phonics and phonemic awareness. If they can't do their maths, lots of games aren't going to cut it. One of the things in the movie, Alamos there, he showed up to class and he had the meat cleaver and he had the apron on and hat, and I'd like to think that that's probably something he actually did, to introduce fractions. It didn't take a long time, but he did it, you know, and he caught the kids' attention. He won their respect, he won their trust, he won their love. And funny little things, you know, they show up with the car repainted for him. He thought it had been stolen, and he flashed back to when he had the radio ripped out of it at the beginning of the movie, you know. Reception kids are going to love you differently than high school kids, but the principles are the same, and that's what we're talking about, believing that the kids really can be high achievers. That's the biggest thing I've been mulling over. Well, so what can we do right now? I've told you already that we're looking at our maths curriculum. We want to make sure that our kids are all high achievers in maths. We want to look at, ultimately, perhaps having to streamline or declutter some of the curriculum to make sure that the first things are first, to borrow something from Stephen Covey. But after we got together, the campus principals and I, in the middle of the term, we thought, well, what can we do straight away? What are we doing? Where do we want to place our emphases? Obviously, we're never going to bring in a whole new math curriculum starting tomorrow. But what can we do? So I've just listed a few things there. There are 11 things on their little handout sheet that I've given you. The first thing we want to focus on, well, these first 6 are really all to do with our pedagogy. It's the I do, we do, you do. We've asked you to incorporate that into your planning. Hopefully it will show up in your planning, where you're being really purposeful about what do you do. And one of the things for the movie, Alamos, he taught them how to do it. You know? He saw it on the board, he'd write it on the board. He actually had something to teach, and then they would do it together. A lot of we do. One of the things that Shane mentioned during the course of our discussions was that in one sense, the you do becomes less critical than the first 2 that I do and we do. It doesn't mean kids don't do homework, but it's not about rushing through something just to set homework. It's that teach them how to do it, get them to do something together, then the you do, that homework, that individual work, is really just culmination, sealing off what they've done. So it's that explicitly teaching them what to do. And we've talked a bit about some of the direct instruction stuff, like SRI, Spelling Mastery, has the direct instruction there for us. But you heard even in the movie, he used chanting. Positive times, negative times a negative equals a positive. You got to do it together and louder. And it was, eventually got them all on board. Even Fingerman and NetHead were saying in the back of the classroom there, if you noticed. It makes the point, getting everybody to respond. The I do, the we do, you do are important, and we really want to focus on that. Please try to make sure that's in your programs. 2 and 3, I'll talk about group responses and individual responses, and I guess I just referred to those, but the idea of chanting, getting everybody to respond, so that as you look around the room, at the moment I'm standing in the front here, because we're doing some videoing, but it's moving around. While you were reading the answers out to your Stephen did of what's a quality teacher, I just moved around. I was looking over shoulders, not that I had to motivate anybody to write something down, but as a classroom teacher, you got everybody involved. You're aware of the hot zones. It's down the middle, it's towards the sides, and then where the dead areas where sometimes little people don't stay in your attention span or in your field of vision. Individual responses. Don't just call on the hand raisers. Think that, this is not profound. I know in some of the most vibrant lessons, you think, well, I know that. Yeah, but do I do them every day? And it's not this, it's like, wow, we're going back to the basics in one sense. None of this is all new, but the research says this is what works. You have a high quality teacher, what makes a high quality teacher? We talked about that a bit, but it's doing some things that are the same. And what we're hoping to develop through our professional development over the rest of this year is to be actually focusing on some of these things. What are the things that we do the same, so that whether the child goes from the Nericourt campus to the Paradise campus, or whether they go from the grade 2 class to the grade 3 class at the same campus, some of the terminology and so forth is the same. There's a similar structure. There's a safety net for the kids. So please use group responses. Make sure everybody's responding, everybody's involved. Make sure you're calling on everybody. 4, we want to be focusing on what we call warm-ups, plowing back in. Warm-ups, lesson hook, what's going on at the start. If you've got whiteboards in your room, as some of you already do, or will shortly have, or will have by next year, you can use your whiteboard for flashcards. You can have real flashcards. It can involve rote facts, a joke to put on the back of one of your handouts, the 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3. Kids need to know their tables, but they need to know them randomly as well. Do you challenge yourself? I used to, when I was a grade 7 teacher, I knew the time test as well, just to say to the kids, see, I started 30 seconds after you, I finished 30 seconds ahead of time. Then we go through the answers together. Kids need to know those things so that when they actually get to long division or calculus, they're not going, let's see, 2 3s are 6. That's too long. It has to be automatic, and it's these automatic responses, transferring things from short-term to long-term memory, automatizing everything from their spelling to using a dictionary if they don't know how to spell a word, to solving problems. It's this. So that's what this warm-up and plowing back is about. You miniaturely, in a miniature way, you plow back after every lesson. You know what you're going to teach them, you teach them, and then you tell them what you taught them. End of the week, Fridays are a good time to do this. End of the day, pack-up. You can use some plowing back in your pack-up times. It doesn't have to just be ball games, though it can be a ball game. It might be teaching them that hard work is fun. Don't let anybody know. If you start to like grammar, keep it to yourself. It'll be bad for your reputation. That sort of thing. Plowing, warm-ups, getting them going. General skills. What's the tallest mountain in France? Everybody says, Mont Blanc. That's exactly right. Albert's doing Spanish, so you probably picked up a lot of the Spanish. Yeah, Albert, yeah. Burro, cholo. Albert's a bit of a cholo. You can look that one up. But these are important things. So, particularly we're talking now about literacy and numeracy, but there'll be some things in science perhaps that is applied to as well. Knowing the periodic table or the first 25. I know some of you have little ways to do that. Flashcards, rote facts, general skills. We want to be known for these things. 5, correction and marking. I've said there, look, at least every other page. We want to know that if a book goes home, parents see that, hey, the teacher sent this and they've marked it. And if it's something that doesn't need a detailed marking, at least they look through the book and they see at least every other page has your initial on it. Now, David's complained about this because he's found in teaching math now. He has to be responsible for that. I taught science to the 11th and 12th last term. I was flipping through something and thought, I'm supposed to be looking at everything. So I'm giving the books to Daniel Hamilton now, but I tried to go through and initial at least every other page saying, I saw this. I'm responsible for this. And if you got parents and you don't like it, well, you can complain to me because I'm responsible. This is what I've been teaching. At the end, I was pleased with what I saw. I thought, wow, this is a better standard than I anticipated. We put some of those things in the front of the books. Not just say, we put things in the front of the books and forgot about them. It's saying, what are the things we value? What are we going to work on together? We're going to work really that's important. You saw something in the movie, though, that I want to bring out too. There was some grace, the net head boy. He came and says, I've done the crime, I'm willing to pay the price, because he was really tough enough with those high schoolers. You're late, you're out. You're going to go see the counselor. No, you don't come prepared, boom. He would make exceptions. He would say, okay, you're going to pay the price. See me at 3. However, you get to stay in. There is a point at which, there is grace. You have to understand there are exceptional circumstances. It might not be that somebody's taking his grandma to the doctor, but you want to be careful. Don't jump too soon. Don't jump too hard. Be careful if you're wearing hobnail boots. We want to go this direction, but it's with relationship. Relationship. I don't know if you're going to invite all of the whole grade 3 class to your house and make pasta for them. Might be a tricky one. But with the principle involved there, that's what I want to talk about. So this marking, if you do it, it's worth marking. If there's no reason in giving the work, then don't give the work. We just make sure we understand what we're on about. So that's that correction and marking thing. Everybody should be doing that. 6, pace. Time on task. Pace. Is it a good pace? I'm conscious of these things as I'm talked about today. You want to keep things moving. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. An idle brain, same thing. Kids could probably take a bit more than we can give them traditionally. How much time do you have to answer a question? Boom. If you follow the SRI Spelling Mastery Program as it's designed, you might not be able to wait for everybody to finish every last problem. You might have to say, right, or boom, get the red pen out and put the final answer down in red. At least that way you know as a teacher what they did and didn't do on time. But it's keeping things moving. Kids easily bored. We can expect them to be able to accomplish it. If somebody's really behind, then we need to get them into a program that's going to get them caught up so they can progress with their class. We've had a couple of parents talking to teachers at the Marion campus. They're aware that if their child's in grade 4 or 5 and a little behind now, as they go up to the grades, they may be progressing, but the gap tends to widen. But we don't want that to happen if we can help it. We want to try to get them up so that they go with the group. So the time they actually spend doing the work, remember years ago when I was not at the campus I'm at now, not necessarily at the school I'm at now, but during a reading session in a class, the kids were coloring a pink rabbit. I thought to myself, that's not reading, that's art. Doesn't mean art's bad, but I want to be aware during reading, like teaching reading, during art, I can also be teaching reading. It's more that mentality than using something. We don't want to just fill time. We want to make sure our time is constructive. And so we're not trying to talk about working more work. We're trying to talk about working smarter, wiser, apply what we're doing. So be thoughtful of this whole pace of your lessons, the time to actually spend on the tasks, doing what they're supposed to be doing. These are the key things. So I think everybody can be doing that right away. I think everybody probably is. By talking about these things, I'm not saying, wow, we think we're really slack in this area. We're talking about these are the things we can do, we should be doing. When it comes to the type of culture we've got, I listed 5 things there that we came up with. And these are, I've attached the Sunrise 1 to 6 and some other things there as well that we'll look at. But these first 11, the 6 to 5, really come out of some of those givens. Classroom displays. What do you think when you walk into your class? There are 2 things that we'd like to see, A and B. HQSW, high quality student work. You want to let the kids know that you're proud of the work they do, and so you display it nicely. And if when you go into your room right now, it's still the stuff that was there from the start of the year, well, it might be a good idea to just give it a fresh up at the start of this term. Some new high quality student work. So high quality student work and skills. When I say skills, stuff up that's going to give them some skills they need for writing, something to do with tables, shapes. One of the things we're doing as a school, we're joining teachthis.com.au, which is a website that you can go and download sentence starters. And the idea is that, let me back up a minute, down at Marion Christian Assembly, which is the Brethren Church next door to the Marion campus, they've got a new sign where they can put up messages, for instance, turn or burn. They never put that one up. But little messages like that to try to make people stop and think about their faith. The one they have up at the moment is a verse, forgive me, Romans 5:8. They didn't have 5:8 in the letters. So they put up one with just a text down, 5:8. So they got this lovely verse up in the big bold letters. And if you look closely, you see something. It's a 5:8 that they've just written out, just one thickness wide of a text that would put it up there. Oh, darn. It just sort of wrecks it, you know. Quite apart from what you think about the sign. They just handwritten a 5:8. They'd better have left it off, you know, or tried to make it look the same or something. So that's what we're talking about. We want to make sure that when you walk into the rooms, there's a sameness, but there's a quality about it as well. So one of the things we're going to do is join this place called teachthis.com, and once we've done that, which we've done in the first week, CPs will be able to say, here's the website, here's where you can go, you can download these posters. Some of them you'll want to laminate. If you want any extra laminating money in your funds, go see David, because David loves to laminate things. David has some pictures of himself and others just laminated, just because he loves to laminate them. The point is, we're concerned about cost, but we're also concerned about doing things well. You know, and if it's a poster about sentence starters or contractions, or something like that, well, and it's worth using year to year, we'll go ahead and laminate it. But we're doing that in an effort to make